Derek and I started walking at night because we wanted to start walking regularly, maybe every day if we're not tired, at least every other day, and we take the dogs with them. They seem to really like it. We've been trying out different routes. One of the ways we walked, we're walking, like, I immediately said, oh, I got bitten by a bug. No more than a minute later, it already swelled up to a little bump, but you could clearly see it. And I'm like, wow, that was fast. It tingled and itched a little on the way there, on the rest of the walk rather, but that was it. And I woke up this morning, for some reason I went to feel it like it's gonna disappear, and I'm feeling it. I'm like, oh, it's gone? No, it's not gone. It's not gone. It like has has spread. It's like this huge, I don't know if you could see it, but there's this huge, let me see if I turn off the light. Turn off this light maybe. There's like a nice mound going on. The reason why I haven't been vlogging is because I just don't know what to say. I've been thinking about years ago when I was still with my abuser, and there was like that 3-year period of time that I didn't do any videos because with him being as much of a psycho as he was, number one, it was better off just not making videos, and I pretty much stayed off of the internet because like he always had some crazy theory that I was like sending love signals to like people I didn't know. It was insane. It wasn't just because it was just easier and safer. I had reached a point that I was so sick that I couldn't turn the camera on and just talk about nothing like I do. I couldn't pretend anymore that there was nothing going on, because that's what I pretty much had been doing from October 2007 until whenever I stopped vlogging. That's all I was doing, was pretending that there was nothing wrong. It was hard because I had no one to talk to. I think this is very frustrating because I noticed this when I've talked to other people. I've noticed something. And maybe it's just because things have changed and people these days don't know how to mind their own business. But I found, and with me and with other people, that when you're actually in an abusive relationship and you confide in someone, they minimize it like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, unless you literally show up in front of with someone and you're black and blue and you look like you got beaten to death, it's like no one takes it seriously. Or they victim blame or victim shame. Well, why don't you just leave? Well, I've said it before, if it was that black and white, abuse wouldn't be a problem. It's still a problem because nobody should be putting their hands on you like that. But like, it wouldn't be as serious because the first time anybody touched you the wrong way, you would just walk out. But with me, it started out psychological, and I didn't even have a name for it because I didn't know what psychological abuse was. When you hear emotional abuse, you think verbal abuse. And you think name calling. You don't think that it's all these creepy things that is this slow manipulation. And by the time it escalated, I was like so messed up in the head that walking out the door wasn't an option of getting out. Suicide or murder would have been more in my head. And people don't get that, and I get it. But this is the thing I noticed, and other people have noticed this. People will not take anyone seriously if you're actually saying, I need help, this is happening in my life. But people are all up in your business when there's nothing wrong. Like, if you are in a conversation and maybe you had an argument and your significant other says something to you that isn't right. Sometimes we say things we don't mean. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, that's abuse. You need to get out of there. It's like, what? No, he said something or she said something that they shouldn't have said and they didn't mean it. Does he do it all the time? That's how abuse starts. And it's like, you know what? No. And people have gotten in my face. Then when I say no, they think I'm so stupid that I don't recognize what abuse looks like. We're talking about people who don't know my past. They think I'm in the middle of abuse. Oh, just you wait. You're gonna be dead one day. You know what? What happened to when I actually had a problem? And nobody wanted anything to do with me. But now when I'm fine, every little thing is a warning sign. And I've noticed other people have gone through this. Or even people who've never been in an abusive relationship notice that, people are looking for something to be wrong. And guess what? If you're looking for something to be wrong and you're in that mindset, yeah, you're going to hear everything. But I just noticed this, and I've talked to a few people, and I'm like, I don't get it. People are so sensitive and looking for signs of abuse, but when someone says they're being abused, it's like, oh, well, it obviously can't be that bad if they're still in a relationship. I don't know. It bothered me. I don't know what. I got off into a tangent. I apologize. The point was, I couldn't lie anymore. I couldn't lie anymore, but I couldn't get on YouTube. I couldn't talk about it because he was there. His whole family thought I was lying. Everybody thought I was lying. And I could not make a public video saying that this was happening, but I couldn't lie anymore. Probably around 2011 was when I reached like the epic of like psychosis. I was very ill. Maybe I should have made videos because somebody would have recognized something was wrong and called the police. Honestly, looking back at everything, I probably should have been hospitalized. In fact, I think if my mother would have seen me, because I didn't see her again until 2012. If my mother would have seen me around the 2011 year, I think, like, if I had visited New Jersey, she probably would have said, you're not going back. Or she would have said, something's wrong, you need to go into a hospital. That's how sick I was. If anybody who actually knew me before I joined the military would have seen me around that time, there's no way I'm scratching it. I very rarely get bitten by anything, stung or whatever, so like we don't have calamine lotion the way I did when I was a kid and be covered with, look like I have polka dots or something, but I just couldn't do it anymore. And that's why I stopped, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend anymore, but I can't tell the truth. I was so sick and so unhappy and so ready to explode. I know this sounds really scary, but I understand why people snap. It doesn't make it right, but I get it. I think I'm lucky that I didn't wake up one day and stab him to death. It doesn't make it right. I wouldn't have been right in doing that. Someone in an abusive relationship, I know it's hard, but I would hope that if you're getting into that feeling like you're gonna strangle this man or woman in their sleep or something, that you get out. But I'm lucky that somehow I got out of that relationship without causing myself or him serious harm. And here's the present. I think I've said it before, but in many ways I am in better condition than I was when I got out of the marriage. But in some ways I'm worse. I've been very cryptic about the way the military treated me when I tried to get help, but as I've said before, you can easily look that stuff up, because I haven't been the only person who was treated that way and unlawfully discharged. I was stupid enough to believe that the VA would help me. But the truth is, no, they're not. It's the government. Why would they contradict something that the Department of Defense did? And I realized either a lot of the people in the VA are effed up, or they're incompetent, or, and this has happened to many people, not just people in the military, a lot of times you'll get a misdiagnosis, and when you try to go to somebody else, they're reluctant to actually listen to you because of that diagnosis. They're reluctant to think it's a misdiagnosis, and when people see the diagnosis I have, they may think they're listening to me unbiased, but I can tell by the things they say that they are biased. And instead of possibly finding reasons that I may not have this disease, this disorder that I don't have, personality disorder, they look for reasons why I do have it. So they sit here and take everything I say and try to put it in that. They're purposely trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole, saying, yeah, that sounds like personality disorder, and it's not. Year after year after year, I've been heartbroken by some of the things the VA has done, because it's very few people who have actually believed my story and believe that I've been wrong, but they don't have the authority to do anything. And probably if they push the issue, I could definitely see them losing their jobs. That's the government for you. Just heartbroken, insulted, seriously hurt. I mean, I'm over it now, but what I went through seeing the PTSD specialist really effed me up in the head. The way he talked to me and treated me and dismissed everything I went through. And it's been year after year, years now. I was 25 when I married my abuser. I was 26 when I was told I was being discharged. I was 27 when I was actually discharged, because it was like I was told like the end of 2008 that I was going to be discharged, and the official discharge was in April of 2009. So you go from 2009 and it's 2018, and that's all the years I've been screaming to be heard. Over the past couple months, I've looked at myself, especially since coming back from New Jersey. I'm like, something's not right with me. Something about going to New Jersey woke something up. Maybe it was because it was the first time being in my hometown in so many years. First time seeing my mom in 4 years. It was the first time I kind of felt safe and like I was at home, because I was. And I got back and I kind of had this mini identity crisis. I don't know how to explain it. I kind of checked in with myself and I'm like, where am I? Where's Joy? I mean, I'm still the same person, but it's like over all these years, I have allowed various people to like take a chisel and chisel at my identity and my personality. It's like there's a hole where I should be. You know, I mean, I can sit here and say, okay, I still, you know, enjoy this food. I still like video games. I still like this color. I still like this. But I'm not myself. You might be thinking, well, Joy, if you went through all that stuff, of course it's going to change you. And I would appreciate that. I mean, yes, going through what I went through, it changes people. Trauma changes you. It does. But this is the first time that I've really questioned my identity. Sometimes I really don't remember who I was. I just close my eyes and I don't see myself. It's a very weird feeling. I said some few minutes ago, because I'm rambling, that I was stupid enough to think that the VA would actually help me. They've made things worse. They actually have. Oh, there's only so much invalidation. And when you're talking about a seriously traumatic situation and deflection and just dismissal that you can go through before it just takes its toll. They've made me sick. I've already actually gotten really sick from some of the ways I've been treated. I've talked about with the PTSD specialist, that was the absolute worst. I was sick for 6 months because I was so, I know this word is mocked now, but I was triggered. I still won't talk about what happened at that meeting because it was just that messed up. To talk to a victim of spousal rape and a victim of just domestic violence the way he did, like it was nothing, smiling and laughing in my face, it really messed me up. It's like I'm wilting. I don't know. It's weird. There's something inside of me, identity-wise, that is like wilted. And I don't know who I am. What's crazy is when I lie down at night these days, I don't sit here and think about what happened at my command, or let's talk about intrusive thoughts. I don't get even intrusive thoughts about my abuser. I get intrusive thoughts about the VA. I've actually had nightmares, recurring nightmares about the VA. I've had angry episodes over the VA from an intrusive thought. I really do have nightmares. It's weird. Basically, the building is like a maze. I'm trying to get something done, and I'm told to go to one person, and it's the wrong person. I keep getting bounced back and forth. And it's this horrible feeling that I have every time I have this dream. They've caused so much harm to me. It's hard to go through all the feelings and that I go through. So it's hard to really convey to you how much just dealing with the VA has changed my personality, changed me. You're just gonna have to trust me until I can find the words to put it in, and then I'll come back and explain it to you. For now, we'll just say that there are vampires that have slowly siphoned my soul and my identity. Sometimes I feel like I'm a shell. It's like something is, I don't know. If someone knows what's happening, explain it to me. But something's not right. I'm angry at myself that it took so many years for me to realize you can go to the VA for physical problems. They have helped you in so many different ways. Considering I don't have outside insurance, when I had the gallbladder issue, I love my gynecologist. I did love my doctor, but he retired. But, you know, it's taken me years to finally get it in my head. The VA never going to be my friend when it comes to getting treatment and healing for my trauma, but they've caused me to be more traumatized and they've made me sick. And I'm not okay. And it's because of the VA that I'm not okay. Well, now the goal is to work on getting my own insurance. I want insurance that you pay a premium on, and obviously something affordable, and I'm gonna probably go through USAA. I just know they have weird enrollment periods, so I'm gonna have to try to catch it. I need to talk to someone that doesn't have the government over their head, and someone who's actually willing to listen to my story. Because to be quite honest, and this might shock you, no one has actually wanted to talk to me about my abuse. Like, you would think if the VA mental health staff had a veteran in their system who says that they were a survivor of domestic violence, you think that someone would want to talk to me about it. But no, in all these years, 9 years, every time I've tried to say I want to talk about it, they want to change the subject. Oh, what's happening at home though? How's your parents? They never want to talk about it. And I find that to be very scary, because that's something that should be talked about, especially considering how sick I was when I left, having nightmares every night. There was a couple times I screamed and woke everybody up in the house, crying all the time. I was paranoid when he was still in town. I was hyper alert. You couldn't walk behind me. You know, I'd flip out and scream if you snuck up on me. I was like just jittery. And you would think that someone would want to say, you know, we probably should talk about this. You just got out of this relationship. Anything. Throw me a bone. No. And I am like not allowed to actually talk about it. I could talk about how I feel and how I'm feeling. I've never been allowed to talk about it, and you think somebody would be willing to listen to me, and no one has. I think that is so irresponsible to not want to give aid to someone who's hurting. Why? I mean, if you would have saw how I was when I just got out of the relationship, you can clearly see that I have gotten better. But it was like kind of like this trade-off where I am not like psychotic, I'm not suicidal, I'm not paranoid and jittery and whatever I was. But now it's like I've lost a part of myself. I've just given them a chunk of my soul and said, here, and they've just been chiseling at me. And I mean, they're soul sucking. And I'm happy for the people who have had good experiences with the VA, because people have. And there are plenty of people who will tell you that I have no problems with the VA, love my doctor, they've helped me with everything I need, and I am genuinely happy for those people. I really am. But there are so many people who aren't just dissatisfied, they've been wronged. They have been treated like trash or like a ping pong ball. Like I said, if I can put it into words, I'll explain to you, but it's literally like I'm having, I guess, an identity crisis, because existential crisis isn't quite right. But that's the reason why I just felt like I couldn't vlog, because it was like, I don't know what to say anymore. I obviously need to change something, because I feel like if there was a psychological way for you to disappear, I feel like it's happening to me. It's that I feel like I'm wasting away psychologically, mentally. My memory's gotten worse, which, I mean, trauma can affect memory, but this is ridiculous. Like, it's gotten really, really bad. I've just changed so much, and I obviously need to change, and I'm gonna start today. You probably would be thinking, what does this have to do with everything I said? But I'm starting with going through my things, clearing things out, getting rid of things I don't need, And the reason why I'm doing that is I'm picking apart everything. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of making up a personality so I look normal in front of people, because that's literally what I do. It's not like I'm trying to pretend I'm happy. I'm just trying to pretend I'm a person. That's how bad it's gotten. I'm like, I don't want to pretend. Okay, I'm here. I am a person, and there is the real me somewhere in my head that I've pushed back, I guess, to survive stupidity. I've lost bits of myself. I already lost bits of myself in the beginning. There was a lot of things I repressed of myself along with trauma, and it's like I'm doing it again. I'm bending myself to accommodate piece of trash human beings. Now that I think of it objectively, I can't blame myself if I'm losing myself in the process. So I'm starting fresh. I don't think I'm always going to have a vlog like this. I'm okay. I'm alive. I want to do some soul searching. If my soul's still there, I'm going to be okay. I just got to inventory, and some of that's going to start with physical inventory. I've always felt like when you have too much physical items, you need to make room. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're making room for more physical items. You're just making room, period. You're making room for just new blank to come into your life, and there's no reason to hold on to stuff that you don't need or use. So that's why I'm going through that, cleaning things up. I have some plans on some things I want to do to heal, since I'm probably not going to go through the VA for mental health anymore unless it's emergency, until I get my own insurance. I'm sorry that I'm always so vague, but that's actually how my mind is. I don't do it on purpose. There's this subconscious block. I'm okay. I gotta get myself back. I gotta get myself back, because I'm getting to the point where I don't care. And that's never a good thing when you just wake up and you're like, who cares? I don't care. I don't care. It's not a good thing. And that's what's starting to happen. And that's actually what kind of brought this on, like, okay, we gotta do something. So I'm alright. Dogs are okay. Derek's okay. Everything's okay. Okay, not wonderful, just okay. That's it. Take care of yourselves, and thank you for listening.